All
Let's
right.
go. Are we back, baby? Are we back? Are we back? Oh my gosh, my wife is bringing me beers, plural, for the whole thing about not drinking during the draft. That's out the window. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I do know my son was streaming Fortnite, and I think everything crashed because of Travis Scott and Fortnite. That is awesome. That is my life. But that's okay because I am happy. And the 49ers, here we go. Screw everything else. Technical difficulties. Look at this. This is what I call technical difficulties solved. There we go. I've got 2 cervezas.
Hey, and real quick, Jerry Jeudy to the Denver
Wow.
Broncos. Just real quick.
Wow.
Woo!
And that is a great pick because here's the deal. You've now got one of the best wide receiving cores in the entire NFL with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. And it goes to show you, they passed on Jerry Jeudy twice. Not once, not twice, and CeeDee Lamb. So let's talk Siobhan Kinlaw. That's why we are here, and I appreciate everybody that stayed with us. You guys are the best. Y'all the realest. Throw out whatever it is you want. So glad you guys are back. Really, it's freaking awesome. Now, here's the thing with Siobhan Kinlaw. He is quick and powerful. 2-year starter at South Carolina. He's going to be everybody's favorite story in the world because if you look at what he was able to do, overcoming homelessness, really rough situation, you're talking a blindside type story and just an amazing man. I love this guy. He does disappear in games, but when he is at his best, he's the best that's out there. And Chuck, if you could just keep an eye on the draft and all those things, I want to stay on Kinlaw for a while. Okay?
Go ahead.
So, quick, powerful 2-year starter, 82 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 10 sacks. Okay? Now, 3 forced fumbles, 4 fumbles returns. He's all over the place. He has the second highest pass rush win rate of anybody in college football behind only Jordan Elliott. 18.1% pass rush. So, we trade away DeForest Buckner. We get the 13th pick. You go back and you get a guy that's going to be the best interior pass rusher in this draft, him and Jordan Elliott. And he steps in day one. JUCO transfer from Jones County Junior College to South Carolina. And again, the 49ers have drafted more players from South Carolina than any other school but Stanford in the history of the 49ers. They love draft picks from South Carolina. I don't know what it is, but it just fits. Now, his first step, his get-off, Siobhan Kinlaw, it's top-notch. Great reaction and change of direction for a 300-pounder. And again, he was down to 324 at the Combine. He was 360 before the year started. He lost 40 pounds. So you look at him now, he looks like a middle linebacker that's like you grab him and you expand the picture, right? Like he's just huge. 6'5", 324, and he doesn't have a lot of bad weight on his body right now. 10.5-inch hands, 34 and 7/8-inch arms, just under LeBron James type wingspan. Super long arms. Oh man, thank you, George. Really appreciate it. I am so sorry about all the stuff with the glitches. I don't know what happened, but whatever. Now, back to Kinlaw. Looks super lean, very athletic. Problems, some negatives in this game. Sometimes he gets tied up with linemen for too long. He's convinced he can go through everybody, but whenever he faces a good anchoring guard or center, they kind of stalemate. He's kind of at his best whenever he rips. He does something with his arms, but he doesn't use his arms all the time. Loves to play over the center and 2-gap. We're not going to ask him to do that, the 49ers. He's going to be a 3-tech, possibly move in over the center and pass rush situations only. Very active hands. Wish it was more consistent, though. He's either the first one off the line or the last, but whenever he is on, and South Carolina, he played a lot. He won't be playing a lot for the 49ers. He's going to have a much better rotation where he'll be fresh whenever he gets in there. And again, 2 or 3 super high effort plays every single game where he just jumps off of the film. And my player comparison, I had to go back real far, and some people won't even know this is a real person. Keith Jackson. The measurables and the explosiveness, old school type football. Keith Jackson, awesome pick. I love this, and the fact they moved back to get a 4th rounder, even more important. Chuck, how we doing, man? I'm opening this.
Man, it's looking. I'll tell you what, man. You're. This is what people showed up for. They want to hear about Kinlaw, man. It's just right now the Falcons the pick is in. People were thinking that there was going to be a trade here between Philly and Atlanta. There was a brew about that, but it looks like that they're going to go ahead and pick, and then Dallas is next. So it's going to get interesting here. But I love the Kinlaw pick. I know that some people might be down on it, but that front four pressure is what it's all about. It makes your corners better. It helps your linebackers. Obviously, when you have a defense like that, it helps the offense along. It puts you in shorter field advantages. So, again, kudos to John Lynch, who basically, yes, you gave away Buckner. That's a tough deal. He's very good. But look at the cap. Now they have got a rookie contract. Hopefully, Kinlaw is going to live up and give you some type of production similar to Buckner. That's what you're hoping for, or at least near. And you're able to operate in different places. So, you guys, I feel you did what you're supposed to do, and you gained a 4th-round pick out of all of that. So,
and we keep, one of the weirdest stats is that we have 5 first-round picks on the defensive line. We trade away Buckner. Guess what? Nope, another first-round pick. So still 5 defensive lineman first-round picks, and every single 4 years now, all 4 years, it has been an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman with the first pick for John Lynch. Consistent.
Yeah. Man, I get it. It's not sexy for 49ers fans. You want the wide receiver. I think we're seeing a little bit of that in the chat. And I think it's still possible for them to make a move, and again, if you go look at Croc, he just put something out there about wide receivers about a week ago or so. There's some wide receivers that are going to fall, and they're going to be as good, if not better, than some of these folks that you're really coveting.
And wide receivers have fallen so far in this draft. You look at what's out there, it's still not. It's still not whatever. Siobhan Kinlaw was my 16th player on my board, and guess what? They got him at pick 14. Gotta love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just what good GMs do. They trade back one spot. They pick up somebody in the 4th. Go look at some other 4th-round players in previous drafts. Sometimes you can hit some real big money there. So it's just smart, and then they get what they need anyway. So respect to John Lynch, who seems to be one of the only player-turned GMs to really do some damage, unlike a few other player-turned GMs.
There you go. And, man, again, appreciate you guys staying with us. That was very, very frustrating for me. But that's okay. We're back, and, we're here to break this stuff down, and we're going to keep going, and the 49ers still got another pick. That's awesome. It is crazy, though, that only 2 wide receivers have gone. I think that, man, Eagles got to be making a move up at some point. The fact that CeeDee Lamb is still there, I don't think he gets past 18. If you want him, you got to go get him.
Got to go get him at 18. Somebody said, what's the potential that Kinlaw is the next Solomon Thomas? I'll just say that positional, how he was used in college is different than how Solomon Thomas was used. But go ahead.
Yeah, they're not going to ask him to do anything he didn't do already. Solomon Thomas was played out of position. You know what I mean? And so if you look at what the 49ers are going to ask of Siobhan Kinlaw, they're going to ask him to do the same damn thing he did in college in the very similar defensive line structure. And on top of this, you look at what Siobhan Kinlaw was doing at South Carolina, he was the man. Everybody was relying on him to be the guy. He doesn't have to be the guy. He could step in and just pass rush. AJ Terrell. Boom.
You know what? The Atlanta reminds me of the Colts to some degree, of like this team that's got a lot of talent, but they don't know how to draft well. They don't know how to be strategic. Everybody was super high on Atlanta last year, but they never had any edge or interior pressure. Not really.
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to get a cover guy. I think Trufant, he went where? He went somewhere else besides them. And they've got to replace him, but they still don't have edge pressure. I think that's unfortunate. Obviously, there's not a lot of edge value in this draft, but my God, you would think that they would do something different here.
Right. And for those keeping score at home, of 16 picks, I've got 5 correct to the correct team at the exact spot, which I don't know if that's good or not. I think Evan Silva won last year with 10. But the fact that I've missed some and we're in the second half, we're now halfway through the first round. I don't think I'm winning any contests this year. But AJ Terrell, I did have picked to the Falcons, and I think that's a perfect pairing. Christian Fulton. The Cowboys are up. I don't know if your dad's still with us or not, but I think Christian Fulton, cornerback, is a possibility here. You look up and down. CeeDee Lamb's still there. Do you go after the big wide receiver target? Grant Delpit, safety. You want to go interior, Cesar Ruiz. This is where he starts to become a play. Travis Frederick retires. You do have Joe Looney if you're, the Cowboys, but still, edge player, Yetur Gross-Matos. There's lots of options here for the Cowboys to go, but CeeDee Lamb, he's got to go soon.
Well, remember, too, Jerry Jones, I mean, there he is right there, barely holding on. And look at that. He looks like he's in a spaceship or something like that. He's by himself tonight, and he's been asked that his scouting department leave him alone. Jerry's always been about the sexy pick. He's always been about shortcuts and getting there quicker. So I could see CD going here, which is a weird thing, right? Because you've got Cooper. I forget who else is the wide receiver there that's pretty decent.
Gallup.
Gallup. There
awesome.
we go. Yeah, Gallup is kind of like a wide receiver one potential. CD there, it doesn't make a ton of sense, right? Having those three together, a little bit of a waste, yes or no?
Yeah, it's a waste, but Jerry Jones is not a good GM. So
right.
That's great. You want to be smart about your picks, but let's be honest, he's not smart.
Right.
I mean, it's just what it is. He's not a guy that has been conventional or kind of looked to the future whenever he's picking. It's just not what he's done.
And two, do you think that Miami really trades out of that 18 spot? They've got 14 picks in this draft. Why do they need more? Are they trying to build a roster?
I don't think they trade back.
80?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, but trading back doesn't make sense for them. Trading back makes sense. Dallas could, but usually he has been a person that trades up. He wants the splash. He wants everybody to look at me. Those type of things.
And CD to Miami does make sense, right? You've got Tua. You give him his number one receiver right off the bat with Devontae there. Boy, that's pretty dirty. Yeah. But they've got other needs. But again, you've got to go and get the number one guy. Let's see. John, I came late due to technical difficulties. Are you happy with Kinlaw?
I love that we traded back for him. I don't think it was a reach at all. It was at a position of need. Personally, I would have preferred to go with one of the wide receivers there, which I didn't think I'd say. But I said before this draft, I had us going offensive tackle first and defensive tackle later. And so I think that's going to be flipped. I think Ezra Cleveland is kind of the next big guy on the board. I think that is just a guy, Jonah Jackson. I think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch want to win in the trenches and then use scheme to win everywhere else. So I don't have a problem with it at all. Again, he was my number 16 player. We took him at 14. I'm fine with that. And good Lord, if you're in the NFC West and you saw DeForest Buckner get traded, you were happy. Now you're just like, well, damn. We've got another penetrating 3-tech that's just as big, 6'6", 300+ pounds. That's got to step in. So I'm excited for the kid.
I'm just
excited for the kid.
That's a tall family. If that's CD Lamb's family, they are a very tall family. Holy Lord. My goodness.
All right, Cowboys are
in.
Oh,
look at that guy. Look at that cuckold.
Oh, wow.
It's so funny that Cowboys fans are loving Mike McCarthy because any Packers fan will tell you that Aaron Rodgers has held that team down for a really long time in spite of Mike McCarthy. When Mike McCarthy went to the Cowboys, honestly, happy day for me. He makes a lot of mistakes in the fourth quarter. He is somebody who takes timeouts when he's not supposed to or doesn't take him when he's supposed to. He literally is a bumbling idiot. Look at him. He's just happy Jerry
Well,
called
he's
him.
the definition of a
calling him-
yes man. Whenever he was with the Packers, Aaron Rodgers owned him and didn't listen to him and did whatever he wanted to do. Is like Michael Jordan and Jerry Krause or whatever, you know? And so now he goes from being owned by Aaron Rodgers to being owned by Jerry Jones. And so, yeah, I'm with you. This is Jerry's show, and he's only going to bring people in there that are going to do what he wants. Parcells was the only one that would speak up to him.
By the way, Andrew says, "Yep, Packers here, fan right here agrees." And being in the Chicagoland area, there's a lot of Packers fans who are in this area, and they hate Mike McCarthy. All right, Dallas Cowboys pick is in. Let's see who they take. I'm saying CeeDee Lamb. Yep. Wow.
There you go. 3 wide receiver sets, which they don't even run very often. So now they have 3 wide receivers, and they don't even do that. So yeah. I get the value, and so if you're best player available, that fits. But now, man, Eagles fans, you're sitting there. You're not getting one of the top 3. Top 3 wide receivers gone.
Right. Gone. And Kinlaw is gone.
Yeah. Now, there still are plenty of wide receivers. And now we're here at Miami. This is where the second tier of offensive tackle runs can start. Okay, now they have holes everywhere except for cornerback position. The safety, they could go Grant Delpit. They could go offensive tackles, interior. They could go wide receiver. They could go linebacker. There's so many places they can go that literally Miami just needs to sit back and take best player available, which I think best player available, personally, I think Grant Delpit, which I don't think he's going to go here. It's a little too early for him, safety from LSU. But offensive tackle or edge player, I'm saying Yetur Gross-Matos or, man, let's go Joshua Jones from Houston, offensive tackle. I think that just kind of makes sense. You know, you got Tua earlier. You sat at 5, which turned out to be the right play. You didn't trade up for him. You still got your guy at 5. But now you got to protect him. You got nothing. you got nothing.
So John, you got 2 questions here. First is, what the hell are you drinking? Okay. Is it an Arizona iced tea?
No, this is I live in Old Town Pasadena, and there's not a traditional liquor store I can walk to. There's like a little craft place. This is called El Sully Cerveza. It's a Mexican cerveza beer made in America. Like literally, they do drop-offs on the corner. So you call them up. I said, hey, I want some cervezas and some tequila, whatever you got. And so that's this. This is 21st Amendment Brewery. I love that. But yeah, it's not bad. So it drinks kind of like a heavier Dos Equis. And it's a tall boy, which I like. Yeah, it's pretty solid. So I'm a cerveza and tequila guy.
Next question by Kevin Olin, and this is a great question. Who do you take? You're at 31, and you got Justin Jefferson on the board and Cesar Ruiz on the board. Who are you taking?
Cesar Ruiz. He's one of my favorites. I'm not sold, personally, on Richburg coming back healthy. Even if he is healthy, he's had 2 bad years. He's just been average. You look at the 49ers in the Super Bowl where they struggled interior penetration by Chris Jones. And so I want that stopped. So Cesar Ruiz is available at 31. I'm not trading back. I'm telling you that right now.
Another good question by Niner James. He said, I'm still concerned about our secondary. Should we address it at 31?
Yeah, it's a possibility. Now, the problem is with corners now, Christian Fulton's there. I like him. I like Christian Fulton way more than most people. But the problem is this. They don't like to invest picks at the cornerback position. The highest pick that's ever been used by this front office is 3rd-round pick for Akello. They love finding guys later and bringing in free agents. They're also really high on Tim Harris, 6'2" corner out of Virginia last year. They got injured. They got him in the 7th round. Hyper-athletic guy. Now, even if you have Richard Sherman for 1 more year, you have Akello Witherspoon for 1 more year. You have Emmanuel Mosley for 1 more year. But Mosley will be a restricted free agent, so you really have him for 2 years. You'll do the same thing you did to Breida in Bourne. He'll be a tendered free agent. He won't be able to sign with another team. But I don't think that there's really a player right now that I would want to jump up and grab. There are some guys there. Trayvon Diggs, AJ Terrell's gone. which I really did like him, but I knew he was going to be going early. And the writing was on the wall there. But whenever you look at the cornerback position, there's just a big kind of just whole chunk of dudes here. Jalen Johnson, Utah, great ball skills. Damon Arnett, Jeff Gladney, man, he's 5'10". I don't think he fits their system. Bryce Hall, Noah Igbinoghene from Auburn. There's a big group of guys, and so I think 31's a little too early. So if you want one of those guys, that's a trade back scenario, which, again, 49ers probably going to do at 31. The only way I don't trade back is if Christian Fulton or Cesar Ruiz is there. But I could see Ezra Cleveland being a pick at 31. Really could see that.
We're just talking about beer up in here now. John, what's your favorite IPA? Do you drink IPAs?
Yeah, I love IPA. Stone IPA. By far. I want that. If I'm drinking, I'm drinking. I like the heavy alcohol content beers. I usually just drink cerveza if I'm going back and forth between tequila.
Oh, my God. When we were in Tennessee for the draft, we actually got into a restaurant that was right near where the draft was going to be, and we got a window seat, and John started drinking tequila like at noon.
Yep. How'd that go?
We watched the draft just like this. Oh, no, it didn't go. It was again, man, it got wild. Steve, my man, we were able to try to contain. John's a strong guy. I mean, you don't see it from there. At one point, John was benching 3 stacks at one point. I don't know if he benched 3 stacks or not, but he's a little bit of a hard guy to contain whenever he's really upset. So that was a lot of fun. All right, we got the Dolphins at 18. The pick is in.
Offensive tackle.
Man. Offensive tackle, right? You just got to think that that's where a lot of the high-end value first-round grades are still there.
Yeah, there's still a lot of first-round grades available, even on my board. Just going through top available on mine, Christian Fulton, Grant Delpit, Jonah Jackson if you want a guard, Cesar Ruiz if you want a center, Yetur Gross-Matos edge, Patrick Queen, Justin Jefferson. That's the end of my first-round grades. But then, you look, we're just at 23. Joshua Jones, tackle from Houston, Austin Jackson, Zach Baum, edge guy, Denzel Mims, Jalen Reagor, Trayvon. There's so much talent. This is the sweet spot of the draft. Kind of pick your poison. Yeah, there's not the biggest difference between 18 to 50. It's just kind of a group. Right. And this is in the point where it's kind of hard to trade back because the people that are picking at 30 and 40, they're fine staying there. Because the top tier guys that kind of differentiate themselves from the people behind them, they've kind of already gone off the clock.
Yeah. I'm going to make you dig into your notes.
Let's go.
Let's look at that 117 pick. Who's at that 117 pick? I'll give you a minute. That you might really like. There's just a lottery ticket maybe that's in there that you would really love to get in that 4th round area.
Yeah, again, if I just look at my big board, my number 117 pick is Darrington Evans, who, again, that's just my big board and how it matches up, who the 49ers have had in on a visit. He's a running back from Appalachian State. Second fastest 40 at the combine from the running back position, and he just fits everything that Kyle Shanahan believes in at the running back position. So, you're talking about guys, again, who I have around here. Cameron Curl, safety, another guy that the 49ers have had in. Started 3 years, 1 year as a slot corner, 1 year as an outside corner, 1 year as a safety. He plays safety for the 49ers. Quintus Cephas, absolute beast wide receiver from Wisconsin, but he's got some red flags. Chase Claypool, which I think is going to go a lot earlier. Some teams have him as a tight end. Some have him as a wide receiver. He's probably going to go 3rd round, but I have him 119. So you're getting down to that spot where it's like, man, let's find somebody that's going to fit what we have. Now, personally, you look at the 49ers picks, they currently have 1/4, 2/5, 1/6, 1/7. They're not going to sit there. They're not sitting out for 3 rounds, okay? They got the 4th rounder, but they're going to package picks to move up. Now, they're probably going to trade for some future picks to get up into the draft, to get up earlier. And there's the pick right there. Sorry, we missed it. I was talking too much. Miami Dolphins took Austin Jackson. We just jumped into that kind of second tier of offensive tackles, and I love Austin Jackson, one of the youngest players in the draft from USC. He has not reached his potential, which this is a huge ceiling pick long term. And if you think about it, excuse me, if y'all made me start drinking beer when the internet went down, don't blame me. But if you think about it, this is great for Tua because, again, Miami Dolphins not winning now. They're trying to build for the future. So why not draft somebody like Austin Jackson, who I had a second-round grade on, who has the highest ceiling in this draft from offensive tackle? But you got to wait. Doesn't have the NFL body yet. Donated bone marrow to his sister who's fighting against cancer 2 months before the season. He had to be in quarantine and couldn't work out for 2 months before football season. That's pretty rare.
Wow.
But again, super young, 20 years old. Once he gets in the weight room and builds into a tackle, awesome guy, and super high ceiling. So that's a great pick. Tua and him going to be best friends. Two of the best human beings in college football are now teammates. And so I think that's pretty cool. Yep. Excited about that.
He just licked his fingers into the eyebrow swipe for his
Did he really?
wipe over. I mean, yeah, he did. And that alone, sometimes what you learn in these NFL, when you see the confidence from a player, sometimes it does change. I'll share a quick story from the Dallas draft that me and John were in. I remember that we were fairly low on Lamar Jackson. I think I was a little bit higher on him than
you were.
Just a little bit higher just because I don't know why. But anyway, so he came out and we had just gotten to the place where there was an NFL Network show actually taking place in MJD, and they're right there, like literally 10 feet from us. And Lamar Jackson comes on screen and he gives the most passionate, like, holy shit moment ever. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to work myself to death until I prove every single one of these teams wrong. And you see players say that in interviews, but the way that he said it literally gave me chills. And I turned to John and I was like, I think we messed up because we'd done a podcast on him and we put him lower. I'm like, I don't know, man. This guy seems legit. He's going to be a problem. So
my favorite thing from Lamar Jackson is after he finished his first game with a perfect passer rating, okay, and they won like 34-3. They give him the game ball. He grabs the game ball and he tucks it like he's a running back and acts like he's a running back in the locker room because everybody told him he's not a quarterback or whatever else. He's just one of those guys that's going to keep, this mentality in his head that, hey, you guys doubted me and I'm going to prove everybody wrong. And I love that. It's the Tom Brady mindset, whatever else. But anytime you hear Lamar Jackson talking, it's always like it's not an act. Like, he's still pissed.
So here's a question. It's definitely not typical of the John Gruden style. Let's say for a minute that the Niners trade up from 31. Okay, I know you said that they don't got a ton of assets, but let's say that they do it. They package a player, they do whatever. Who would you make a move up for at this point?
Who would move up? Sorry,
the Niners. Who would, if you were the Niners?
You don't move up.
Who would?
I don't move up at all here. If I had, I mean, what's the draft capital you're going to give up? It's going to be too much. You're picking 31. You got 600 points. To move up to where we are now, it's 875. You're giving up 275. 49ers don't have any picks. They don't have a pick over 117. That's worth 60. So if you did trade up now, you're spending 2021 capital or using a player. The 49ers are not moving up. If they do anything, they're moving back. I do not expect the 49ers to take another pick this draft or during this round.
Well, yeah, for sure. And I think that those first round grades have sort of like deteriorated at this point, but it's just something to think about because this has been such a weird draft. Like, I can't remember a time when there's been so little.
Oh, wow.
Wow. You just know. Somebody said it earlier. Whoever said it earlier about the Raiders always do something different. Here it is. John, Did, did you grade this guy? Did he make your big board 100?
Yeah, he made my big board. I actually really like Damon Arnett, who they just picked, and it makes sense for Mike Mayock, who's a big tape guy. He was my number 41 overall player, so he goes at 19, so it's early, but he is a very, very clean, polished corner that started opposite of Jeffrey Okudah for a long time, for 3 years. So very clean, great feet, very smooth. I call him the duck because he just always looks calm and collected, even though his feet are moving like crazy. I really, really do like this kid. I think it's a good pick. I think he is a starting corner. This is early, but it's what it is, and there was definitely a need there. If you look at the Raiders roster, their starting corners are Nevin Lawson and
Ugh.
and Trayvon Mullen. I like Trayvon Mullen. They got him last year. He's a good pick, but it's definitely a need. And man, believe it or not, the Raiders actually have a pretty good roster. They don't have a lot of holes to fill. They have the guys in place that Gruden wanted, that they built through this draft. They just keep building. And Jordan Love was available there. They didn't go. And, they kind of got what they wanted out of him. Now the Jags are back on the clock. What do? They need safety help. They could use linebacker help. We still have both linebackers available. I think Patrick Queen's probably the best available, that's there. Or do they go wide receiver? There's definitely some guys there. And they could go cornerback again because they really don't have a lot of guys at the cornerback position.
They got who they wanted.
Yeah.
Jacksonville is interesting. I'd be interested if Justin Jefferson falls to Philly here. I did say that they're either going to move up or they're going to move back. But if Jefferson is here, it's hard to see them moving out of that 21 spot.
What about the cornerback position for you guys? Is that a possibility?
For sure. I mean, not that a lot of people are going to respect this because they don't follow Philly the way that I follow Philly, the way that you guys follow the Niners. There's enough cornerback guys there who I like, who can do the job on the other side. Another part is too is when people say like, "Oh, you need 2 corners." Not today. You need 3, 4 corners. So I get potentially adding some depth there, but there's again some guys that I like to step up in the corner position. We got LeBlanc, who was a free agent guy who actually had the highest rated, for the cornerback position in the playoffs. So like, there's just guys who can actually play the position who aren't big names. And we need somebody. We just straight up need somebody at the wide receiver position. Alshon is a shell of himself. Deshaun Jackson is getting older. Nelson Aguilar went somewhere else. I think he went, where did he go? The Colts or something. Yeah. It's just they're in trouble in that wide receiver area. And if they're going to be competitive this year, they've got to go and get somebody who's going to at least cause some kind of matchup issue. You can't run the 2 tight end set every single play.
No, but I do think, man, your number 2 tight end, I think he could be the best outside of George Kittle in the NFL. I love Dallas Goedert. I think he's. Yeah,
I'm saying he's the best number 2 tight end. He's probably top 7, 8 tight end in the league in terms of talent. But who knows? I'm actually afraid of that because I'm like, is there going to be a point when he says, I want to be the guy, get me out of here?
How'd that work for Trey Burton?
But Trey Burton was never the talent level. Right. He can throw a really good pass sometimes in the Super Bowl.
Who just also landed with the Colts. The Colts love Eagles, and they love 49ers guys.
Well, the thing is about Trey Burton, he's a fantastic backup tight end. I know that sounds crazy, but he loves to play that backup role. He can't be the guy for you, but he's definitely athletic enough to, be the number 2, number 3 guy and be a difference maker on your team, special teams and otherwise. So I actually have liked the Colts moves this year, other than their corner Rhodes. I don't really care for him, but yeah, they gave up a pick for Buckner, but They added a badass defensive
Yeah.
lineman.
Another quick question that I just saw in the chat: what other quarterbacks will go in this first round? Jordan Love. I think he is a hell of a player. I have him as my number 36 overall player. I did have him ranked ahead of Justin Herbert. His ceiling, and the reason why I like Jordan Love so much, his ceiling is crazy. Now you look at the teams that are coming up. Jacksonville Jaguars pick is in, by the way. Philly is on the clock, Chuck. So start thinking about that. But, man, the Patriots are sitting there at 23. They want to get Jordan Love. That is a possibility. I don't think that there's really anybody else in the first round that would want to take Jordan Love. Another team might trade back up. But, man, so that's there for you.
Damien asks, he says, I like Cameron Dantzler's ceiling. He fits in the Sherman cover 3. What do you think about him?
Oh, yeah. Super, super tall, 6'3" corner. I'm not the biggest Dantzler fan. I watched probably the most games of him out of the second round or corners. But, man, I struggled. He just doesn't look the part. Now, he fits the metrics that are great. He ran a 4.64 at the 40. Then they came back after his pro day and said he ran a 4.38 with a hand timer, and they went all crazy about that. Then they laser timed it. It was a 4.59. So the speed's a concern. He's a big dude, 6'2", 188. But the problem is this. If you like him, it's run support and length. That's what he has. But very robotic, not a natural corner with his feet and his hips. Didn't look great at the combine, but he does have great ball skills. He was an offensive player most of his life. I like him, but I like a lot of other corners better. I feel like you draft Cameron Dantzler because of his height, weight, speed, or height, weight, not his speed, and you hope that he learns the position. So he'll sit. He would sit if the 49ers drafted him. He would not play right away. But yeah, he's a perfect fit. But I think that there are a lot of guys that are much better. I love the ball skills, love the height. But outside of that, there's not really a lot there. I'd prefer somebody like Trayvon Diggs, Jalen Johnson, Bryce Hall. I'm really high on Bryce Hall, actually. We drafted a Virginia corner last year, so why not stay with it? It seems like John Lynch loves to draft players from the same teams.
Yeah. So real quick, let's talk about two things. Number one, this is actually my favorite part of the draft. Once we kind of get out of those first thing, I love the bottom end of the first. I love all the second round. It's probably my favorite period of the draft. It's weird, but this Jacksonville Jaguars team, it seems like they have just screwed up this franchise royally. Is there a chance that in the future, you think this is like the next franchise to lose their city, Jacksonville?
I don't think so.
Here comes the pick first. Here comes
Kayvon Chasen.
Let's see the pick.
Yeah,
first.
You want to talk about screwing up things. Congratulations.
There it is.
You just drafted the player with the most potential that hasn't really done anything. I'm not a Kayvon Chasen fan. I knew he would be going in the first round, but I just, again, I was asked earlier before everything went to crap, what's the nightmare scenario? My nightmare scenario was Kayvon Chasen to the Niners. And, man, check out Chuck with the Randall Cunningham jersey. Can't call this guy a bandwagon fan. Chuck has been a Eagles guy for as long as I have known him. Look at sharp, my friend. Look at sharp, my friend.
Thank you for the jersey.
Yeah.
Thank you for the. This was a John Chapman present, by the way. He treats his guy friends very well.
That's right, man. Lady friends.
Screw the Eagles.
Andrew
says, "Come on, man. Come on, just be a little bit nicer."
Just saying. It looks sharp, man. I love the throwback Randall Cunningham. That is fire. That is nice. So, Chuck.
Listen, hold on real quick. Let me just tell these guys something real quick, and we'll go back to this pick. Where John and I bonded was there was a period of time when the Niners and the Eagles were really not doing great.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's how our friendship formed. So, it's funny because when you get to really know if somebody's a fan, if they really just leave or they say screw, but John and I never. We just always, if our team is 2 and friggin' 18, it doesn't even matter. We're following, we're in the draft, we're cursing our GM's name, and that's what fandom is about. Yep. Shout out to John. What were you going to ask me?
Just who you want here, man. There's a lot of guys there, corner, lots of wide receivers, Denzel Mims, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Yeah, and Diggs is still available. And the other person that I'm really high on, and it'd probably be a reach at this point, is I like Antonio Winfield.
Yes.
We just lost Malcolm Jenkins, who went back to the Saints, and that's a problem for the rest of the NFL, by the way. That guy played over 50% of his snaps at middle linebacker. He's manned up on tight ends most of the time. We lost a big piece. And so to say that the Philadelphia Eagles may take a step back this year from that is a possibility. The pick is in for the Eagles. So it might be important to replace him. I know that some of our favorite Twitter follows are really into Antonio Winfield. Thor, one of my favorite guys out there, loves him. So Justin Jefferson won't disappoint me. Mims won't disappoint me here.
What about Grant Delpit? I think Grant Delpit would be a perfect fit.
He's special. He's really a special
Charles
player.
said it. I didn't say it. You don't have to take a drink.
Well, I will. Fine.
Same here, man.
He's a locker room guy. He's super special. He's the most special guy. Hey, by the way, thanks, guys, for hanging in. We got 128 people, even after our crash. You guys are faithful to not just the Niners, because obviously you got the 31 pick, but faithful to the John Chapman 49ers Rush podcast. One of the best podcasts out there, period. Even if you're not a Niners fan, awesome listen.
Oh, what's up? I see L Train on there. What's up, man? L Train's a really good friend. We hung out in Miami. We had a good time. He showed up to the Frank Gore thing. We had a really good time. So really appreciate. And again, if you guys have met me and we've hung out, let me know, man. Say, John, this is so and so from last year's draft or whatever. But yeah, please let me know. I'm here for you guys. I love building the relationships. It's pretty cool because we just passed last week 250 episodes of the 49ers Rush podcast. That's a lot. 250 is a bunch. I think we're just getting started. Got a couple things in the works that I'm pretty excited to bring to the people. I don't want to reveal them just yet, just because I want to make sure they're going to happen before I talk about them. But I'll say this.
All right, guys.
Oh, here we go. Your pick in?
No, I'm just taking a shot. I'm taking a shot with the fans because they're asking.
Oh, do it,
Here
man! I love it. I'll drink some beer. I don't have tequila in here, which is probably good. Still good.
Amaretta, this is for you. This is for the Niners fans, the Eagles fans. Here we go.
There we go.
Go ahead, brother.
Love it. Good stuff, man.
Michael Irvin's on my TV, and I hate that. I'm just going to tell you, I didn't want to shake his hand. He started coming over to the crowd when we were in Dallas, and I didn't want to shake his hand, and I didn't. So I still feel good about that choice.
Man, you got to talk, too. What about the Eagles kicker freaking talking so much trash? One of the best draft moments ever whenever he just lit up the Cowboys fans. Was that David Akers?
David Akers. I'll say I was there for that in person, and he didn't. It came across like a guy who was probably 5'5" with a really tiny voice, yelling at the fans in Dallas. So it wasn't the strong, thing. So it was cool. It was definitely very cool. But I want to say the Cowboys got us back. I can't remember who it was,
Pearson,
but
wasn't it?
I think so. They did a really good job. So we got Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson on the screen right now. Howie Roseman, fun fact, highest paid GM. I've never seen somebody come in after doing what Chip Kelly did to our team, literally ripped us apart, traded away Deshaun out of there, Macklin, Kiko Alonso, McCoy, everybody. Here comes Goodell now. He's always ruined everything for me. Let's see what he does today.
He looks kind of nice in that sweater shirt.
Did he have a wardrobe change?
He may have. Justin Jefferson's my guess.
He's so happy.
It just makes too much sense.
I like it.
Either that or Jalen Reagor. That's an outside shot here.
Ooh, Reagor. He's a monster.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Ooh. I'm telling you right now, I'm so happy. Honestly,
Jalen Reagor,
guy is an absolute
right there
monster.
It's just a fit, man. I love this kid. Really do love this kid. He is an athletic freak. The way that the the combine worked out. It wasn't the best ever, but he showed just how explosive he was. Now, you go back, I remember following this kid in high school. I used to coach track and all that stuff. I was a long jump and triple jump coach. He jumped 26 feet in the long jump to win the state championship in Texas. Texas got some athletes now. This is a guy that he's got some talent, man. He really, really does. 3-year starter, some of the most fun film to watch. You can watch some guys film and you get bored. You don't get bored with this guy. He is so fun to watch. That's a great pick, Chuck. You're going to love this guy.
You know what? And the thing is like the reason he makes a little bit more sense than Justin Jefferson is because we have a Justin Jefferson type body on the team.
Yep.
Now, is Alshon not the version of himself that he was last year, the year before? For sure. And we're going to have to address that. But Rager is the receiver that we need. We need the explosion. We need the speed. We need the athleticism. I absolutely love this pick. You see him returning punts. Wow, this guy is electrifying. I'm all about this pick. I'm glad we didn't trade back. I'm glad we got somebody that Carson Wentz can blow out his ACL to. So there we go.
That is, I'll tell you this, Chuck. You're going to have a really fun next 24 hours. I can't stress this enough. They're playing highlights everywhere of him now. He is the funnest film watch. He's the funnest. The Big 12 defense is a joke anyway, but you can go back for 3 years. He's been doing this in the NFL. The definition of explosive and twitched up athlete, just a weird cat. He's alien-esque with what he's got. So a great pick there. I had him as my 27th ranked player. You guys got him at 21, and it's a perfect fit. Great pick.
Oh, man. So it's funny because I just said Niners and Eagles fans can be friends, I promise. Now, the caveat to that is that I've never been to Philadelphia. I'm a military brat. So you've been to Philadelphia. I've lived all over, but we were living in Germany at the time, and the NFC Championship Cowboys and Eagles were playing, and I saw Randall Cunningham play, and I was just like, that's it, man. Ricky Watters, Irving Fryer. And I was just sold on that team. So that's where my love came from. I have no love for Philadelphia nor their fans. I mean, sorry to any other Philadelphia fans who are in here. I just don't know. That's not what I love the team. I've never been necessarily about the town.
You need to go to the link, man. I've never been to a game there, but I'm down, man. So.
Yeah. We got a question from Damon here. What kind of wide receiver would you think the Niners draft? I like Quintez Cypress and Isaiah C. Outlier from Rhode Island.
Yeah, so a couple things. First off, Quintez Cephas is a hell of a football player. He's got some red flags, so we're not anywhere close to his territory. No way he goes before the 3rd round. Probably 4th round, 5th round, which we have a pick there now. The Rhode Island guy, he's fun, explosive. They've got 2 wide receivers there, actually, that are draft eligible. But if you're talking about wide receivers at the 31 pick, or if the 49ers trade back and do a 2nd round, that list is headed up by Michael Pittman Jr. Now, wide receivers that are still available on the clock, you still have Jefferson on the board, Denzel Mims. So, you're looking at now, we're up in 10 picks. So Now you're starting to count down. We're in the back quarter of the draft. There's going to be some top tier talent available. Again, we're up in 10 picks. These are players I have left on my big board in order. Kristen Fulton, good Lord, you people that want a corner, his ceiling is so high. Grant Delpit, safety. Jonah Jackson, probably the best guard in the draft. Cesar Ruiz, that's who I personally want. Center. Yetur Gross-Matos, he's basically like a light Eric Armstead edge player. Patrick Queen, I don't think 49ers go linebacker. Justin Jefferson still there. Joshua Jones, tackle. Zach Bond, he doesn't fit what we want. Denzel Mims, Trayvon Diggs. So there's lots of guys there. There's still a lot of top-tier talent. And if you want to trade back, Jordan Love, still on the board. Teams love to draft quarterbacks that have that 5th-year option. So if the 49ers do trade back from 31, very, very likely, again, same pick where Lamar Jackson went. It just makes sense for somebody to trade back up. Who are some teams that want a quarterback in the early 2nd round? Perhaps Indianapolis. They went and got Rivers, who was awesome. but how long is he going to play for? You know what I mean? Chargers got their guy. Carolina kind of got their guy. But you got to go down a ways for a team that wants a quarterback. Chicago,
Gotcha.
perhaps, maybe Jacksonville, Tampa Bay at 45, maybe they want to back up to Tom Brady. Who knows? But there's some options there. There's going to be a stud there at 31, though.
Yeah. Elias brings up a good point. He said we're failing to mention the number of the picks that are coming up, so we'll do a better job of that. We got pick 22.
Oh, we got a couple. We got to trade. We got to trade. Patriots just traded up. Patriots traded back. The Chargers traded up. Wow.
I'm sorry. Huh?
Yeah. Ian Rappaport just came in. The Vikings pick is in. The Patriots are trading,
Wow.
so I said the Chargers are back on the clock. They got Justin Herbert earlier. They've got a lot of wide receivers. The Chargers have a pretty packed roster. I said earlier, they don't really have a lot of holes outside of the quarterback position. They go get Herbert. They got 2 first-round safeties in Nasir Adderley and James. They've got some decent linebackers. There are some linebackers available. Offensive line, definitely have some holes there. Offensive line. You have Marquise Pouncey at center. You just paid to get Brian Bulaga at right tackle. There's a tackle hole, to say the least. They have Sam Tevi currently as their starting left tackle. They traded Russell Okung out. So this is going to be key. I think it's got to be a tackle here. It just makes sense. You got Joshua Jones. Ezra Cleveland is a possibility. I think that's kind of what we're looking.
So let's see. Right now we're going through what teams we hate the most. I answered for you, so let me tell you if I got this right, because this could be like one of those weird couples quizzes. So I said in this order, I think this is your most hated team. Okay,
go.
Seahawks number
Truth.
1. Rams number 2. No. Cowboys number 3.
I would go Seahawks 1, Cowboys 2.
There we go.
Rams don't really even matter to me too much, to be honest with you. They don't have any fans.
I just think they've annoyed you recently, I guess.
Not a
why
lot. They're not real fans. I live in LA. They don't really have any fans around. Patriots. I put Patriots 3. So I'd go Seahawks, Dallas, Patriots. Justin Jefferson, wide receiver, Vikings.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, he slides in, great route runner. The issue with Justin Jefferson that I like him a lot. He only played in the slot. So he's not a guy that does everything, and he's not a guy that plays outside. He's kind of replacing Stefon Diggs. He's not Stefon Diggs. He doesn't run the routes like he does, and he can't defeat press coverage like he did. Now, getting some details on the trade. New England is trading the pick to the Chargers. Okay, the Chargers gave up a 2nd and 3rd round pick, which is crazy because guess what? The Patriots have the most picks in the NFL. They just got more. So I'm very curious to see who they jumped up and got. Now, the Chargers only had 1 pick in the 2nd and 1 pick in the 3rd, so we know exactly what they are. It's pick number 37 and 71 go to New England, who was picking at 23. So the Chargers jumped up from 37 to 23. That's 14 spots. There's somebody here they want. It's got to be a tackle. I think it's got to be a tackle.
They just showed Michael Irvin again, and it upset me. So I'm really sorry. But yeah, the thing is that you blew my mind with because I was super hyped on Justin Jefferson. I remember calling you, and you're like, "Did you know he only played out of the slot?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a problem."
Yeah, it scares me.
In the NFL, you've got to be able to win from the outside. Even if you're a slot player, yeah, they're going to motion you outside. It's just weird that you're so limited in terms of your experience and what you do. Do I think that he can be a good wide receiver? I do. But he definitely, that's why he fell out of that really elite top 3, because he doesn't do everything. He's absolutely got upside, but is he going to be the guy for that team? I don't know. I mean, Adam Thielen is still the person there. I'm not really sure how long it's going to take for him to acclimate to get.
Yeah.
to be really useful for Kirk Cousins.
Guys, here's what we got. We have to take our official first break of this. We're 3 hours in and went through a crash. We haven't taken a restroom break. I started drinking beer. We're going to be back in about 90 seconds. And here's the deal. I've got a couple quotes lined up for you that I just found from Siobhan Kinlaw that you're going to want to hear, Niners fans. So stay close. Everybody take a bathroom break. We'll be back in 90 seconds. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking with us. You guys are the best. All right. Welcome back, baby. How we doing, Chuck?
Doing real
Me too. I
good.
felt like I lost some weight. So, couple things happened while we were gone. First off, the trade took place. The Patriots jumped up or fell back to 23, and I was pretty shocked by this, to be honest with you. They go out and the Chargers get a great linebacker in Kenneth Murray. He's a hell of a player. And here's what's funny. The Chargers love to play sideline to sideline, and they do more dime personnel than anybody else in the NFL. So you go get a guy that can play the true interior linebacker position in Kenneth Murray. And again, a couple things you're going to see with every highlight they show you. All of his highlights are sideline to sideline. You run right at him, that's not his strength. Great in pass protection, but again, he's a sideline to sideline guy. That's just what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I remember too. I think it was 2 years ago that I was talking to somebody that the Chargers were actually one of the first teams to start playing. I think it was like four safeties. Now this is an opportunity to not give up on the run, and this is a way to be just as fast and to not have to sub in that safety here and there. But there was times where they were taking linebackers off the field altogether in certain packages. Now they're able to not even worry about that. And they pass on Simmons, which like you thought maybe that made sense for them. Then they trade up and go get a super athletic, not as athletic, but super athletic linebacker here. It makes so much sense.
And they go get a captain of their offense and, Herbert, and then they get a captain of their defense on the other side, Kenneth Murray. Now, the Saints are on the clock, and there's a big reason why the Chargers jumped up all the way to 23 in front of the Saints. The Saints don't have any holes on their roster outside of linebacker. So I think we're going to see Patrick Queen here. It just makes a little bit too much sense. Patrick Queen from LSU, another interior linebacker. I just think it works here. I really, really do. It's a perfect pairing. I love Patrick Queen. I have him rated higher than Kenneth Murray. Now, the interesting thing about Kenneth Murray and Patrick Queen is this. Kenneth Murray's been starting forever at Oklahoma, whereas, Patrick Queen, he didn't even start at the start of this year. It took an injury for him to get in the starting lineup for LSU. That's just how talented they are. Now, once the injury took place and he got in, there was no looking back. He's an absolute beast, and he fits the system in the NFL. He's kind of the smaller, faster type linebacker. Now, their speed and measurables are closer to the same. Kenneth Murray's bigger, but I personally think Patrick Queen's a better linebacker.
Yeah, the Saints are just going to be a dangerous team this year.
They really are.
But they're always the team that somehow just gets, something messes up for them right at the end. They're a pretty immature locker room as well. They talk a lot of crap after games. I wonder if that just builds on them after time, or if just refs just completely blow their games altogether. But
now, before we took our quick break, I told you we were going to have a quick quote from Siobhan Kinlaw. Here's the deal. I know quite a bit about South Carolina. And here's the quote. The question was asked this. Siobhan, are you prepared to play for a coach like Chris Kocurek, the amazing defensive line coach that's just like pumped up on steroids all the time, who yells a lot? Siobhan Kinlaw responded this: y'all must not know who Will Muschamp is. They asked him, does he yell? And Kinlaw replied, Muschamp will put his foot up your behind if he could. And so I'll say this, the Longhorns, the Texas Longhorns, that's my college, that I pull for. Will Muschamp was the defensive coordinator and coach in waiting after Mac Brown, but he got offered, the Florida job and all that other stuff, and so he left for that. It was the Georgia, then Florida job, all that. He bounced around, whatever. Will Muschamp's one of the meanest coaches out there. Just think very Chucky-esque with Gruden. So it's interesting how Siobhan Kinlaw is going to transition. One, already a teammate of Deebo Samuel. So he's already got somebody that he knows relatively well on the 49ers roster. And so I like that. It's going to be somewhat of a seamless transition for sure. Very, very excited to dive into the background of this kid tonight and tomorrow morning. Super pumped. So much great stuff is ahead with what's going to happen with the 49ers. I'm pretty pumped. I'm feeling better and better about it.
I got a question for you,
Go
John.
ahead, man.
It's actually a personal question to you. So some people may not know that John was a high school football coach in Dallas and was a part of the Texas Football High School Coaches Association, whatever that is. And you got to go and see different coaches teach about certain blocking schemes or different plays. Who was the most influential coach that you got to see on those trainings?
Well, it's really, really interesting because you get the personality of the coaches is so different. Okay, so for example, let me say this. Talking with Mac Brown, again, the head coach at the University of Texas, he won with Vince Young and all that stuff. He's not a coach. Mac Brown's not a coach. He's a CEO. And he's a motivational speaker that kind of puts everything in place, right? So you have somebody that won a national championship. That's who he is. Then you get somebody like, let's talk about Texas A&M's coach, which I'm not a big fan of. The dude was a mad genius, okay? He sits down, and he just talks about one route concept for an hour and a half straight out of every different formation against every type of coverage, Jimbo Fisher. And so you get these different things. Now, the most developed, and the person that I took the most away from was David Cutcliffe from Duke. He's responsible for coaching Peyton Manning at Tennessee, then Eli Manning at Ole Miss. Now he's the Duke head coach. That guy, holy freaking cow, from a quarterback standpoint, you want to talk about somebody that just understands everything and focuses on the minutia to the extreme that you just take so much away from. And so really you got to pick your poison. What is it that you're looking for? Now, if you're looking for defensive coaches, I really think you have to put Robert Saleh up there, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Not because he's a scheme guy, but because he is a guy that understands where everybody's going to go and what everybody's role is to empower, right? So I love that. Thank you for this question. First off, Chuck, I could talk about this for an hour. Because, again, what is it that you want? You get these bulldogs like Will Muschamp or Chris Kocurek that's just going to scream and scream and scream and scream and scream. And then you're going to get somebody like Joe Cool with Kyle Shanahan that's going to wear a backwards hat and just shrug his shoulders and walk away. There's a different coach or teacher. I think this is the same thing for education as well. There's a different coach or a different teacher that's going to reach different people. And we got a pick here with the Vikings. The pick is in. Let's see here who they going to pair up with.
Actually, who did the Saints take? Did we miss that?
Yeah, it's not showing up. I was on commercial here. I'm on the ABC and ESPN broadcast, and they both went to commercial at the same time. So, yeah, that's interesting. What am I missing here? What am I missing?
Oh, Saints took Ruiz. Oh,
did they really? They took Cesar Ruiz?
Oh,
gosh, the Saints.
Man.
No, they didn't. Did they? They did. Damn it. The Saints took my favorite interior lineman, Eric McCoy, last year. Now they got Cesar Ruiz. I assume they're going to keep Eric McCoy at center, they got in the last half of the second round. Now they got Cesar Ruiz. I swear to God, I think I'm the GM of the freaking Saints. They do this to me every freaking year. That's who I wanted the Niners to get, but that's okay. Damn. Instant starter at guard. Steps in. He starts day one. You know, the value of the interior offensive line pass protection kind of started with Drew Brees. You know, he's short and he hates, and he's very vocal about this, how he hates interior pressure being pushed in his face. And so the Saints have valued and put, you know, these interior guys on pedestals. Man, that's a great pick. Saints are for real, man.
So, yeah,
gosh.
No, for real, they're for real. But check this out. There is sort of a little Twitter storm going on, social media. We're not super close and paying attention because we're looking at all the things, but CeeDee Lamb, and as you guys have probably already seen, his girlfriend reached for his phone and he swiped it right out of her hand, and it is just getting all of the Twitter attention right now. It's Barstool right now because he had two phones, so she tried to see who was on his phone. He literally ripped it out of her hands. She is a dumb.
If I would have known that, I would have drafted him sooner.
Oh, my God, dude. He didn't even look her in the face when he did it. Amazing. That's actually the best draft news of the night.
She got some talent, though. I'll be honest.
Oh, she's got major talent.
I just saw the video. That's pretty great. He just literally shook his head no.
Not for you.
Nope, that's mine.
My God.
You're lucky to be here. That's what he just said to her. Dude, that is awesome. Yeah, man, that's a great pick. Now the Vikings are back on the clock. They got Justin Jefferson earlier. Sorry about the mishap there. They switched the tab too soon. The Vikings got Justin Jefferson. Could still use some offensive line help. Corner is a big need. The Vikings lost a lot this offseason. Some defensive pass rushers, some defensive protectors from the cornerback position. They got the wide receiver, but I really think this is going to be a corner. Christian Fulton makes sense here. If they want to go with kind of the taller guy with ball skills, Trayvon Diggs. Again, Bryce Hall's an outside shot as well. But there's definitely some guys here that they could go interior as well. Jonah Jackson is probably going to be one of the first couple guards off the board. Him, Robert Hunt, or Matt Hennessy. Those are the interior guys if you want to go after one of them. So curious to see what the Vikings do here. They got a lot of holes. I think corner's probably going to be the position. They've got a lot of safeties, but we'll have to see what happens.
Ooh, John.
Oh, shit. 49ers straight up. Take a shot, baby. Oh, okay. Who'd they trade up for? Christian Fulton's here. Jonah Jackson, interior. Turgros Matos. Denzel Mims. The 49ers fans would go crazy if this is Denzel Mims. I think Christian Fulton, Denzel Mims, Grant Delpit are options.
Take a shot, baby.
Man, what is it? I'm drinking. Everybody drink. I cannot believe they traded up. What is this going to cost? It's going to cost something. They traded up to number 25. I cannot believe this just happened. We look at the numbers.
John, they gave up the 4th round pick that they got and the 176.
That's what you saw that? That's verified?
Yeah, that's what the guy in front of me is saying. That's him.
All right. So they fell back to get 14, and then they jumped up from 31 to 25. So that falling back 1 let them jump up 6. I want this to be Christian Fulton or Denzel Mims. Grant Delpit as well. Any one of those 3, I'd be really, really happy. Let's see what happens here. Man, this is awesome. They're showing Kyle Shanahan. I can't believe they traded up. Cannot believe that they traded up. The 49ers are so damn fun. I love these guys, man.
I'm glad I asked the question. I'm glad I asked the question because, I was told it wouldn't happen, but then it did happen.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. They gave up 31, 117, 176. So now there's no way the 49ers pick in the 2nd or 3rd round unless they trade up future draft capital. But, man, Christian Fulton, Denzel Mims, Ezra Cleveland, the tackles are still there that they covet. There's a lot of guys there. Michael Pittman's an outside shot.
And you know what? The thing is...
Let's go, Faithful.
It's probably not worry about it. Let's see what happens. Goodell's taking his time. Shut up, Goodell. Just say the name.
Wow, this is going to be great, man. I love the 49ers. Here we go. Brandon Ayuk. Oh, wow. Wide receiver. You wanted your wide receiver, you got him. So who is Brandon Ayuk? I'm not the biggest Brandon Ayuk fan, okay? I'm not the biggest Brandon Ayuk fan. I want to be very, very honest. However, a lot of people really love this guy, including one of my favorite draft analysts. Wow, I'm a little stuck here. I ain't gonna lie. But if you want potential from the wide receiver position, he has it in spades, okay? He stepped into the role that the New England Patriots wide receiver that they picked 2nd overall last year at Arizona State, he just stepped into their role. He is explosive but raw. Only 1 year of production. That's it. He was kind of a backup special teamer, but again, you talk about long arms and athleticism. He has it in spades. Again, 33.5-inch arms long enough, his wingspan long enough to qualify as an offensive tackle in the NFL. Now, you watch the films of him whenever he has the ball in the open field, he's as good as there is. 27.1 kick return yards average, 11.7 punt return yards average. Every guy that Kyle Shanahan goes after the wide receiver position is a great kick returner and great punt returner. There is no doubt Brandon Ayuk was a top 3 wide receiver. Again, listen to me, top 3 wide receiver on some boards, and then he wasn't even a top 10 wide receiver on others. Kyle Shanahan values the wide receiver position much differently than anybody else in the NFL. He wants people that can create on their own. And if you want that guy, it's Brandon Ayuk. Again, just going through a couple of more stats. He had 6 drops on 146 targets, which is not good. That's an 8.2% drop rate, not great. He was 8 for 19 on deep ball receiving. So balls that traveled more than 20 yards downfield, he only caught 8 of 19. Those are actually pretty good odds. He had a 10.1 ADOT, average depth of target, which is very low. And a lot of this has to do with Term Edwards' offense that they run there. It's all screens, and it's just get the ball to your playmakers, which was Brandon Ayuk, and let him create on his own. 14 missed tackles forced and only 2 contested catches. This is a problem, okay? He's not a guy, if you are close to him, he's not coming up with a contested catch. But in Kyle Shanahan's offense, he is the definition of a jet sweep guy. You're thinking Deebo Samuel, but with longer arms and better in the open field. He's not as tough. He's not running through people, but this is a guy that can take a slant to the house, which is what Kyle Shanahan wants. Super, super long arms. As I said before, I called him, this is my player comp, Zay Jones, who I really like coming out of college at East Carolina, but with way more wiggle. His catch radius is great, and whenever he gets the ball in his hands, watch out. You wanted a wide receiver, 49ers fans. You got your wide receiver. Curious that they traded up for him. I don't know who they were trying to jump in front of, but this is an explosive playmaker that can take the ball the distance at any second. Wow.
Well, and I'll just say this too, like to any 49ers fans, there was a time too, I remember that 49ers fans were not happy about the Deebo pick.
Yep.
I was on Twitter when that happened. I remember people being pissed off. Trust in Kyle Shanahan. He's gotten you this far. Yeah. He knows what he wants. Just trust in his vision. He's made it happen so far. If he believes that this guy could be a freak for him and that he's going to trade up, I would trust in that. And that's the thing. Like, I try not to get mad at my coach's picks because especially if I like the coach and I support them. And you guys have one of the best there is, especially at evaluating talent. You might not know the guy as much as Mims, but give him a shot because he's an athletic freak.
He's so
trust
explosive.
in Shanahan.
He has a 40-inch vertical. 40-inch vertical with 33.5-inch arms. He's at the top of the class whenever you talk about catch radius. So I know a lot of the 49ers fans wanted a really tall corner or wide receiver that could kind of go up and get it. Well, guess what? He might not be tall. He's only 6 foot. But whenever you add 6 foot plus his 33.5-inch arms plus his 40-inch vertical, there's maybe 2 or 3 wide receivers in this draft class that have a higher catch radius. Now, he's not a speedster. He's 4'5". That's plenty. That's not an issue. But 10.6 broad, that's big. The broad jump is important because it measures explosiveness just from a standstill position. Now, you look at the athletic profile composition or comparisons. This is what Mock Draftable gives. Chris Moore, Marquise Callaway, Tyree Cleveland, Stanley Morgan, Justin Jefferson, Nate Burleson, guys like that. Now, some of those names you don't recognize, but this is where he tests out. Now, what is it that he brings? These are my film coaching notes. First off, he transferred from a junior college, Sierra College, California, and he was a defensive back before that. But he was just this hyper athlete, and they started him off as a kick returner, punt returner, and he just kept scoring and kept making all these plays. And they said, man, let's get the ball in his hands. And that's who he is. He's a guy that you design plays to get him the ball. Now, he's young. Whenever you look at what he's done at the wide receiver position, he's so raw. Now, some negatives. Struggles versus press coverage, and he's slow to get off the line. But once he gets the ball, it's an explosive play. Some plays, it looks like he has the best hands in the world, and he makes these circus catches, and you can just see he's got mitts, 9 3/4-inch hands, very large. And then other times he'll make a concentration drop. So, like, he's back and forth on that. But if you want upside at the wide receiver position, he has it in spades. I think Daniel Jeremiah had him as a top 20 player. Now, some problems. He doesn't run the full route tree. They don't do that at Arizona State. It's very similar to the old Baylor system where it's a hitch, it's a slant, or it's a go. Like, that's it. And he just does that back and forth. Ball security is a little bit concerned with his fumbles. You see him do that in the open field when he's cutting across the field, and he tries to score a touchdown every single play. For draft position, this is what I said. He can go anywhere from late first to third round. He's the biggest differential at wide receiver. That's what I typed for him. So, yeah, this is exactly where we wanted him. Yeah, I mean, this is where I knew he was going to go. I didn't think the 49ers would trade up for him. It makes sense why Kyle Shanahan likes him. But, yeah, this is interesting, man. Chuck, come on, man.
So yeah, so
Another trade. We
so
got another trade.
The fans are asking in here. They're saying, do you think he would have been there at 31? Here's what I would say to that. I think that you've just got to assume that Lynch and company knew that there was going to be somebody else going after him. I had been reading, honestly, all week long that he was a name that was going to surprise people. Yep. So I'm not really surprised. I do think that other people would have been going after him. Maybe it was the Packers. They've traded up here.
Man, you took the words out of my mouth. There were a few teams that are 100% going wide receiver. I think Baltimore and Green Bay even more so. But the fact that Green Bay just jumped up. If Green Bay takes a wide receiver here, they have told you this is the last one in their tier that they had there. And they run the same offenses. 49ers and Green Bay have the same scheme. So I think you're right, Chuck. Wow.
Yeah. And you see this move too. It's very Green Bay has just been like the weirdest drafters the past few years. There was it 2 years ago that they took like 3 corners in the first 4 rounds or some weirdness like that.
Wow. 49ers only have 3 picks left in this draft. 156, 210, 217. That's it. They got a 5th, 6th, and a 7th.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a pretty well-rounded 53. Maybe safety, providing some competition at safety. I don't know where the Niners can really get better. Maybe there's some positional value. There we go. Take a sip later on, and there's a running back that falls to you guys to create some more competition there. Although you guys are super solid at running back, but again, if there's somebody who's really good, why not?
Yeah. And this is the thing, Adam Schefter just tweeted this out. Last year, 49ers were interested in Kelly, or N'Keal Harry, but he went right before him. This year, they finally decided to trade up and go get him. Wow. Jordan Love, quarterback to the Packers. They do it again. They go get a backup quarterback early. This is right what they did last year. I think they got him at 22, Aaron Rodgers. And here's what's interesting. Aaron Rodgers is actually a year older than Brett Favre was when the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers. This is the MO. Wow. They go forward and they get their quarterback. Now, they've drafted quarterbacks to go behind Aaron Rodgers before. And it hasn't really panned out, but wow, you're exactly correct. They jumped up and got their quarterback.
Wow,
Jordan Love, man, that is awesome. And Aaron Rodgers, there's got to be a meme somewhere or a GIF somewhere of him just like looking at the camera with his F off attitude right now. But this is what the Packers do. I think this is a great pick. I think there's a reason why the Packers stay successful. I love Jordan Love. And, man, why not let somebody with a little bit he's got the arm talent of Rodgers. He's got the mobility of Rodgers. He just doesn't have any consistency whatsoever. And he's played with just some really bad guys. He lost 9 starters on offense and his offensive coordinator from 2018 to 2019, and the play suffered. I love that he goes to a place where he can sit for 2 or 3 years. That is awesome.
What does this say to Rodgers?
I love the draft.
So Mike McCarthy leaves, and the very next, months later, they draft a QB in the first round. Yeah. So they're not, obviously, they know
they traded up for him, too. They gave up a 4th. QBs.
There you go. But they've got one of the greatest QBs to ever do it, ever. No one's questioning that. But what message does this send to him? Like, you've got a year, you've got 2 years, you've got 3. I mean, it's hard to see him, I don't know, being okay with this pick. And it's funny that this happened to him because he's been in this position. I wonder if he'll show kindness to Love, not the way that Favre showed it to A-Rod.
No, he won't.
Very interesting.
Hell no, he won't. And that's the thing, man. Here's the deal. In society, we see this a lot. If you are a girl that, steals a guy away from another relationship, he's involved in a relationship already, and you steal him away, don't be shocked whenever he does the same thing to you. And, man, I love this.
Right.
Because guess what? Aaron Rodgers has gone through this from the other side. Now it's going to happen to him too.
Right.
And so this is who the Packers have been. It's who they are. Sustained success long term. And worst comes to worst is you have Jordan Love sit for 3 years and get all antsy and pissed off, and you have a quarterback controversy. Teams that haven't had a quarterback in a long time would love a quarterback controversy. So I think this is a smart move. And you got the 5th-year option because you got him right here. You stop other teams from trading up to get them. You knew other teams are available to do that. There's lots of other teams with draft capital, including the New England Patriots. So you go get it. You go get it. And you don't hesitate.
Wow.
At the quarterback position, you go get it. Man, that is awesome.
Interesting.
That is awesome.
Pick. It's probably what's the most surprising pick of the draft so far. I think we can say that that's just like the head scratcher. And now the Patriots, they're going to go get a free agent. They're going to get Dalton. They're going to get one of these guys. Kevin Love is now, especially in dynasties, now we're talking about Kevin Love going much later on in dynasty. Interesting.
Here, listen to this quote from Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show earlier today. We haven't picked a skill player in the first 15 years, or in the first round in the last 15 years. So that would be kind of cool. Then he said, whoever the pick is, he'll track down his phone number and welcome him to the team tonight. So, let's see if that happens, man.
Amazing. And somebody said Aaron Rodgers to the freaking Patriots. I mean, if that happened.
Oh, don't even say that.
Yeah. Honestly, that's like saying like worst case scenario.
Wow. I can't believe the 49ers traded down and traded up. And so we're talking the first 10 picks were boring as hell. Well, guess what? Things got spicy. They got spicy quick.
Yeah, they did.
Man, I love that. I really, really do love that. Wow. And so now you have Seattle Seahawks here on the board, who I hate. Your Yetur Gross-Matos, who's one of my favorite players, is on the board and fits a position of need. They should go offensive tackle, but they never do. Let's see what they do, man. Wow. Just wow. I'm still kind of taken aback.
Let's come back to your pick. Let's just forget your initial issues with him. Let's say that coach and company can really get to him and help him develop. What is his kind of ceiling this year? This not the future. What's his ceiling this year to contribute to the 49ers?
No, he's going to contribute. You don't trade up in the first round when you have no draft capital whatsoever to give up. You know what I mean? Like that, you didn't have it, but you spend it anyway. And so no, he's playing, he's contributing. Period. Now I will say this: what is it that he is great at? Explosiveness. Worst trait: press coverage. Okay, so right off the bat, we already know what we got. We know what we're going to do. You got to get the ball in his hands. We've seen what's happened with Debo. Now you add that to both sides. I think that he's a guy that you could bring on slowly, and you start small.
Yeah.
You create spaces. You start with slant routes. You start with digs versus zone. You cover him up. Debo can play against press man with ease. He might be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL to do so. So you can put Debo outside, and you can motion Brandon Ayuk from the backfield. Let's be honest, he can play running back. I want to be real. And he can motion, do the jet sweeps, all that kind of stuff. So you just have to get the ball in his hands to build his confidence, and you can't leave him outside on the line of scrimmage. So he's not your traditional X wide receiver or number one wide receiver. He's not that. Debo's that. Okay, he's a guy that you move around. He's going to be in line, and he's going to be moved in motion, and he's going to be off the line of scrimmage.
And too, you guys got Jalen Hurd coming back, and the film doesn't lie.
Jalen Hurd.
Exactly. It's not like all the pressure is on this guy to perform. I bet you by week 10, Niners fans will really be singing the praises of that pick if he develops the way that Shanahan's going to bring him along. So
yeah, and man, I'll say this: everybody kept saying we've got all these explosive, shifty running back, jet sweep, gadget guys. Guess what? Kyle Shanahan said, "Nope, I want Moss," and he went and got one. So Kyle Shanahan is building just an explosive, whoever the hell gets the ball, whether it's a running back, right? We're talking Raheem Mostert, who goes off for 240 yards and 4 touchdowns in the NFC divisional round. We're talking Matt Breida, who can take it to the house. We're talking Tevin Coleman with 4.41 speed. We're talking Jerick McKinnon, if he can get healthy, 4.3 guy. Then we're talking George Kittle, the number 1 yards after the catch tight end in history for season. And now you're talking wide receivers, right? Marquise Goodwin's probably going to get traded tomorrow, but still huge speed. You've got Debo. You've got Ayuk now. He just wants guys that can take it to the house. You got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's not a top 5 passer, but he's in that 5 to 10 range. He's a great quarterback, and he's got a great contract now moving forward. A lot of people gave him flack earlier, but no, it's actually a really good contract in today's quarterback climate. But he's a guy that can distribute the ball. You got a great offensive line, and you're focusing on stopping the opposing teams from passing by drafting Kinlaw. You get Kinlaw, defense stays where it is, and then you go get Ayuk. You try to add a little bit more explosiveness to the offense. This all makes sense in Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's mind. It works. It's a system. They have a plan, and they're sticking to it. So I like that. So sorry I went off on a rant.
You're good. Seattle's about to pick, and then we need to address what's the next pick.
First off, fuck
and then
the
I want
Seahawks.
to ask
Let's
a
be
question
honest.
about
Screw these guys.
Yep.
Jordan
and then
Brooks.
We need to talk about Alex.
That is an awful pick. Oh, it's so bad. It is so bad. I love how they always stay on point. First off, Patrick Queen's there. That dude's a first-round talent at the same position they left him. Jordan Brooks is this. He is the definition of a length at the inside linebacker position. And I do like Jordan Brooks. However, I had him ranked very, very low. Let me see where I had him. I got to keep scrolling down. But he's a fun guy to watch. I actually do like his film. But to take him in the first round, yikes. I have him as the number 92 overall player on my big board. The Seahawks do it every year, man. Number 92. Really do.
Yeah. My goodness.
He's long, and again, he played in the Big 12, so he's used to playing in space. But we heard rumors and rumblings that he could go in the first round. You're looking at the Seahawks, who have the worst offensive line in the NFL outside of Dwayne Brown. They lose their right tackle, George Fant, and they just don't care. They're never going to... Russell Wilson, I feel bad for, and that's saying a lot from a 49ers fan, because he deserves to once be protected. And John Snyder and Pete Carroll just don't care. They understand how great Russell Wilson is, and they just think he'll make up for every deficiency. KJ Wright, first off, is a great outside linebacker. Bobby Wagner had his worst year probably since he became a pro. But you're not starting those 3 guys out there, so Jordan Brooks steps in. That's great. Who do you lose? They run nickel formation. Do you sit KJ Wright? Do you sit Bobby Wagner? It's a stupid pick, man. It's a stupid pick.
Yeah, and Pete's over there. He's just really happy.
I love this, man. Screw the Seahawks. That's awful. That is awful.
Yeah, and they're definitely a team that could have made a big improvement and a step forward. So you're glad that they didn't.
Man, that is awesome. I feel great right now.
Yeah,
I feel great.
You're like, you know what? That's not so bad.
Whew. Man, this is awesome. I'm really excited about breaking down film tonight.
Oh, yeah. And you guys, you know what? It really does come down to the Niners first and the Seahawks. That's that battle between you guys. I mean, obviously, Cardinals made their step forward. Sure.
Yeah, and let me say this. Man, what's going to happen here, okay? One, the 49ers don't have a draft pick tomorrow, so I am just going to try to put out the best content possible for you guys through the podcast realm. I'll probably do 2 separate podcasts tomorrow, just to be honest with you. One completely devoted to Siobhan Kinlaw, one completely devoted to Brandon Ayuk. Now, for the hardcore people out there, and I love you guys. Did we just freeze? Is something wrong? I think we're good. Oh, no. We're still good. Okay.
No, we're
cool.
Good.
But for the hardcore people out there, I'll say this. I'm going to put everything up as far as the all 22 film on Brandon Ayuk and Siobhan Kinlaw on the Patreon account. So if you just want to wait for the podcast and my breakdown and some highlights, the podcast is going to be there. I'll probably do a 40-minute episode on each one tomorrow morning. But if you want the all 22 film and complete package breakdown, which is going to be several hours tonight of each one, Patreon's the place for that. All you do is type in patreon.com, go there, 49ers Rush Podcast, search that, join the Frank Gore tier. A lot of you guys already did. And so I'm thankful for that. All that goes to supporting the podcast. That goes to equipment. That goes to making sure HotMic doesn't crash whenever we do this again. It goes to all that stuff. So if you want access to that, that's where that's going to be. Again, patreon.com, 49ers Rush Podcast. It's the best way to support the podcast. And again, I know not everybody's the hardcore fan that wants to watch 4+ game films, of a defensive tackle. That's okay. 100% I get it. But for those that want the extra, that's where you're going to find it.
Let's see. So we got the Ravens on board. They've not been – I don't think they have very many picks this year. So the Ravens are an interesting it's weird because if you looked at them preseason last year, they didn't have a lot of names on their defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Right? It was deceiving how well the defense showed up. So what does Baltimore do here?
There are 3 very perfect fits. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded down because these 3 guys are just too good to fall here. One, Jonah Jackson, offensive guard, who's my number 1 guard. I think, you had Marshall Yonda, who's probably a Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame type guard. He's done it for 13 years. He retires. Put Jonah Jackson in. You want to run the ball, you got it. Yetur Gross-Matos, edge player. He's a Ravens type of guy that is just a tough run defender, a 4-down player. He could do whatever. You need help at linebacker. Patrick Queen, for somehow, is still there because the Seahawks are, I don't know how to insult them and their intelligence without offending somebody that is not a Seahawks fan. I don't care about offending Seahawks fans, but whatever. Patrick Queen should be gone. I can't believe he is there still today. And then if you want to go outside corner, Christian Fulton, who has fallen, definitely has some issues. Got caught trying to cover up a failed drug test. Got some injury issues as well, but his ceiling as an outside corner is as high as anybody. He's my number 13 player, and I kept him up there because his ceiling's just so good, and he reminded me so much of Trendavious White, but without the length. I'm the biggest Trey White fan that ever existed. If you go back to that draft, I was clamoring for that guy in the top 10, and he fell, but he's a top 3 corner in the NFL. Anyway.
So, what's interesting is you got the Titans at 29. Could you imagine if Patrick Queen got inside of that defense? Yikes.
I love Patrick Queen, man. I really, really do. One of the things that makes him so special, one, he's super athletic, but he's the new kind of version of the NFL interior linebacker, but even though he's small and his size doesn't really make sense, you can't block him. It's really, really weird. You'll see offensive guards and tackles pull and run at him full speed and engage him and hit him in the chest, and he just moves them to the side like it's a little kid, get the hell out of my way, and then he makes the play. And he does it so often that it's just like you just scratch your head. How the hell is he doing this to 300-pound men whenever he only weighs 220? He's just... It's really weird. That's a very rare thing to see. And whenever you do it in the SEC, and he's not doing it against nobodies, he's doing it against top-tier linemen.
All right, here we go. Baltimore Ravens, except for John Gruden's got to do this like really weird point at the camera, say something thing. Like, come on, man. Just say the pick, dude. That's all you're here for. Say a name.
Here we go, baby. Patrick Queen. Damn. Yeah,
makes sense.
You look at the Saints,
Ooh.
You look at the Ravens, you look at the 49ers.
Wow.
Good teams got better today.
Wow.
Gosh, the elite are elite for a reason, and this pick is, God dang it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he
Yeah.
didn't go to the Seahawks, but man, I'm scared of the Ravens, man. I ain't gonna lie. That dude's so good.
Well, I'm one of the few people who thinks that Lamar is going to have a bit of a step back this year. So
Yeah, there's
I'm
no
not
way he can
that
recreate what he did.
that and too a lot of what was created. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. He had an MVP season, but a lot of what he did was they schemed very well. I mean, what they created last year was just special in terms of the run
Charles
game,
said special,
and
not me.
um, yeah, and NFL defenses pick up on that
Yeah.
kind of thing. I think Lamar is the truth. I think he's going to be a great quarterback, but I see him taking a few steps backwards. And then that defense too. Can they perform? There's not a big names there, but they really performed well. Can they do it again? Ravens are a question mark for me next year. Where I know for a lot of people they got them very high.
Yeah. A question,
Wow.
we're looking at the 49ers and what they have. They gave up number 31 and 117, okay? So they lost the fourth that they got. So if you look at just the picks that they have left, no, they gave up 31, 117, and 176. So there's some conflicting reports out there, but I think they gave up all three of those. I think that's right, yeah. So
Whoa.
if that's the case, the 49ers currently have 245, end of the 7th round, 210, 6th-rounder, and I think they still have 2 5ths. Am I wrong on that?
I don't
I haven't
know.
seen an updated.
Not the first.
I don't see
We'll
anywhere
see.
that they traded away a 5th-rounder, 117 and 176.
Alan
Oh, they
King
gave
is
up
dealing with the
176.
shot
Yep.
from draft.
Yeah, so they just
Yeah,
have
from the wide receiver.
156, 210, and 245. They have 1/5, 1/6, and 1/7. Now, that doesn't mean the 49ers are done. They're the most trade-active team in the NFL today. So if you want to jump up into the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, you're going to have to give one of two things. One, a player trade. Marquise Goodwin will be traded during this week. I guarantee it. I love that, they asked John Lynch about it, and he said, we're trying to find a good place for Marquise to go to. We've already almost traded him twice, but we want a good home for Marquise, which is important. I love John Lynch and how he takes care of his players. That's going to help them in free agency and, again, morale with the team and all those things. They don't do anybody wrong. They really are the definition of a franchise that takes care of their players. Now, you can give away a player to get into those rounds, or you can trade future draft capital. Currently, the 49ers have all of their original picks for 2021. The formula for trading back into this year's draft is you subtract one. If you want a 2nd-round pick, you have to give up next year's first. You want a 3rd-round pick this year, you got to give up next year's 2. So, again, I don't think 2nd round anything's happening. Maybe 3rd round. 49ers have traded away their 2nd-round pick every single damn year. You gave 1 2nd-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. You gave 1 2nd-round pick that you traded up in that current year for Dante Pettis. You gave a 2nd-round pick for D Ford. So we haven't kept any seconds. So who knows? Maybe that'll happen again.
This is a very different draft too. I have a prediction for the off time between the draft clock for the NFL. I think because what we're seeing with the technological issues, because that's what I'm saying has really impacted this draft and lack of trades. I think that we might see some really more overnight trades, right? That you don't usually see. I think we might wake up to some news that some picks have been traded because teams have had time to think about what they're going to do.
Right.
So that's my prediction for tomorrow. I think you're going to wake up to some trades.
Man, and I'll say, you look at how many trades take place. Usually, it's 5 first-round draft trades, and I think we hit that. Maybe I'm wrong, but the 49ers traded twice. You had the Packers traded up. You had who traded up earlier? So I think we're at 4 now. So one more trade, and I think we're on par.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that?
Time for a shot. Clown Car 49. Let's get it.
Oh, yeah. You had freaking the Chargers jumping up, too. So Man, this is awesome.
You know what? I appreciate this is awesome. And this is honestly what we wanted to do in Vegas. We wanted to drink, get a little bit drunk, analyze picks. Here we are doing it from our homes,
There
but
we go,
we'll
man.
make
Well,
do.
cheers. My
Cheers,
my
49ers and Eagles fans.
my second beer. I'm almost out. I gotta get some more. It's happening tonight, man. The 49ers aren't picking tomorrow, so at least there won't be. We're not gonna do hot mic because the 49ers aren't gonna be on there. But I'm gonna be working all damn day. Trust me. This is the longest week of my life every single week. Don't worry. Do you remember last year in Nashville? Whenever I woke up and recorded on the patio of our apartment, like it was like 5:30 or 6 in the morning after staying out till 2 the night before. Oh, that was fun. That was fun.
That wasn't the night that you chased me around the taxi car,
I
was
don't
it?
think so, but I don't remember
Was it
that
the
night. I
night?
remember the morning. I just remember the morning. 2 nights in a
By the
row,
way, you're
cops
saying
called
drink
me
it
an
up.
Uber to go
Yeah.
home, which I'm not bragging about. I do think it was awesome that these cops tried to get me home safe. They didn't want me getting taken advantage of by, all the people that were out there.
Isaiah Wilson from Georgia to the Titans, solid ass pick.
He's a mountain. So again, he's a guy that kind of came on the scene late, and half the NFL teams, he's not on their draft board. He's the type of guy that's in a
Yeah.
physical running game only. If you run the zone blocking scheme like the 49ers, he's not on your list. 6'6", 350 pounds. He's a mountain. And so, again, you talk about why Georgia has been what they are. It's because of these two guys. You got Andrew Thomas, the first tackle taken. You got 2 first-round tackles on this team for 3 years straight. There's a reason why Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, DeAndre Swift, who's going to be the first running back off the board whenever he does get picked. Hopefully he doesn't go to the Kansas City Chiefs. But Isaiah Wilson is a beast, and now he's going to be blocking for Derrick Henry. He fits exactly what it is they want to do.
Will they kick him into guard?
No. Jack Conklin left.
No.
So he's going to start day one right tackle. It's plug and play. You let Conklin go to save on some money. You franchise Derrick Henry. You're going to let him play out his franchise tag. But if Derrick Henry doesn't get hurt and does what he did last year, you got to pay him. You can't let him go. I don't like paying running backs, but there's only a few Derrick Henrys out there, man. Maybe somebody the Tennessee Titans could go after, A.J. Dillon, like in the 3rd or 4th round. If you want to try to get another backup running back that is kind of this freak size speed. Now, again, nobody's Derrick Henry. There's only one of those. But there are some big height, weight, speed running backs in this draft.
Something's going on with Mike Vrabel's kids. Like, one of them's got a mullet. The other one's in a bodysuit.
He's a beast. What do you have? 10 catches for 10 touchdowns? Like, how cool is that? As a linebacker, 10, like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Somebody asked in the chat, are the Chiefs going Swift? The probably the real answer is yes. It's not the answer anybody wants to hear because nobody hates the Chiefs fans more than the Niners. But I'm right there behind you. If they get Swift, that's damaging, I think, to the NFL.
He's so good, man. He's so good.
Yeah.
I really, really like that guy. But I'll say this, man.
But Andy Reid. Go ahead. I was going to say, Andy, being somebody who experienced Andy Reid, I'll tell you, he was always the coach that drafted not who you wanted. Like, you'd get there and they'd be like, Kevin Cobb. Like, really? Like,
hey, y'all turned him into a second-round pick, man.
Now, that's on Howie, right?
Yeah,
not on Andy Reid. But, my God, Andy will disappoint you. He'll obviously he got his first Super Bowl, so congrats to him on that. But, man, he will, as a fan, he'll disappoint you because he drafts weird, too. It's like the Raiders. He'll take some weird-ass tackle that you haven't heard of. So, Miami's on the clock with their 14.
Wide receiver.
The Patriots had the. You think so?
They have so many needs. Again, except at corner, they could go safety, Grant Delpit. They could go guard if they want to actually protect. Yeah, they got Austin Jackson. Jonah Jackson's still there. You want to go edge? They've got needs there, but they run that 3-4 system. So Zach Bond, edge rusher. A lot of teams have him as a linebacker, an interior linebacker, but he's kind of one of those hybrid, kind of smaller J.J. Watt type from Wisconsin. I like him a lot. I figured he would be drafted by the Patriots. He had a failed diluted sample at the combine as well, so he's going to fall a little bit. Now, wide receivers in need. Denzel Mims still there. He's just chilling. So, there's some options to go for sure.
Yeah, and two, there's also some sneaky wide receivers still out there who I think could be as good, if not better than Mims. So there's still some surprise left in this draft. But Miami, man, Miami's like a buy low stock as a franchise.
For real.
I believe in that coach. I like what they're doing. Don't be surprised in 2 to 3 years they're not a joke anymore. Because right now, obviously, they're still jokish, and you're not really super afraid of them, but give them a few years. I like the direction they're going. Yep. And I was looking at the contract situation for them yesterday, and with Byron Jones and Howard, they take up 16.8% of the cap salary. That's high.
Yeah.
That's really high.
That's very, very high. Very, very, very high.
That is – so to give you an example of that, there's like very few running backs and wide receivers who would also do that.
Damien, I see your question. He asked me, what do you want for the Niners' next pick? I want the Niners, obviously, they're not picking until the 5th round. So you're waiting, and somebody is going to fall. You got your wide receiver. You got your defensive tackle. Now an issue, here we go. This is what I love this. You got me excited, Damien, okay? Offensive tackle, you ready for this? I love it. I love this kid. He's a lot of fun to watch. Let me scroll over to my notes here just so I can get everything right. Here we go. Alex Taylor, South Carolina State. Love this guy. I don't know if he will still be there at that point. He's the definition of a zone pass blocker and a zone pass, run blocker as well. He is enormous. Whenever I say enormous, I mean 6'8" enormous with longer arms. He has the longest arms in the draft of any position. Okay, 36.1 arms. Just to put that into perspective, the NFL cutoff for offensive tackle arm length is 33 inches. He's got 36 and 1/8. So you're adding an extra half of a foot wingspan to this. Again, another guy that has longer wingspan than LeBron James. And he's just a lot of fun to watch. I really, really like that guy. Length and athleticism, 88-inch wingspan. It's just stupid. He played both left tackle, right tackle, and he's a developmental guy that you would sit because he doesn't have the NFL body yet. He's 6'8", 308, but he looks like he has a six-pack. He needs to add some muscle and a little bit of playing weight so that he can handle bull rushers. But Alex Taylor, I think that he is a perfect fit at the offensive tackle position for the 49ers in the 5th round.
So you got a few questions here. So Tommy just jumped in. He said, how do you feel after tonight? And then Pickle Diner said Dalton Keene in the 5th or the 6th. And then there's a little recap. Nicholas wanted to know why they traded up, and we kind of addressed that earlier, so we can leave that for the last part. But let's start with Tommy. How are you feeling after so far? What are you feeling tonight?
Man, I feel good. No doubt the 49ers got better. I did kind of feel like they needed to get some draft capital so that they could get some value, and they didn't do that. They traded back one spot, which I love that. That's a power move. We got two guys we like. We're just going to fall back once and kind of see what happens, right? But they got so excited, they couldn't wait, and we saw them do this before. If you go back to the very first draft, and y'all aren't going to like me bringing this up, but that's okay. Let's play the game. Let's let history be honest. They traded back one spot to get, from 2 to 3 to get Solomon Thomas. And then they traded up from the 2nd round into the 1st round to go get linebacker. I don't even want to say his damn name. From Alabama, Reuben Foster, right? It didn't work out.
Right.
It didn't work out for either one. But you've got to love a team that manipulates the draft board into creating exactly what they want to get the players they want and to kind of finesse those things. So I do like that. So I feel great. They address positions of need. They're huge upside plays. And so, yeah, I feel good. I need a lot more film, okay? And that's what tonight's going to be. It's going to be tequila and film. That's just what it is.
Tequila and film. So usually John gives each prospect about 3 hours. What he's going to go do is watch every moment since they were 4 years old till they were now, and that's what he's going to come back later. Basically, he got a sample, right? And sometimes you learn more after going back in. Have you had your mind change after doing your typical 3 hours and then going back in and watching? I mean, have you had your mind change before?
Oh, yeah.
Back or forth?
Yeah. There's definitely that. I'll say this. My tweet earlier, I said, things to do and not to do on draft day. One, don't bring negativity and on Twitter prospects that you don't like. Like, don't tweet at Siobhan Kinlaw, right. You suck, whatever else. Number 2, have fun. Remember, it's a good time. 3, trust your coaching staff. And number 4, we all mind trick ourselves into believing they did the best possible thing in the world, right? We all do that. And so I think whenever you look at look at that. Noah Igbinoghene, cornerback from Auburn. I knew he was going to be going early. Converted from wide receiver to corner. Hyper athletic guy from Auburn. Very raw. Very raw. And here's what I said earlier about the Dolphins. They have holes everywhere except for cornerback. What do? Screw it. Let's go get another cornerback. They're loaded. Xavier Howard. They get Byron Jones from the Cowboys. Now they go spend another first on him. Like, they are building a secondary, my friend.
I love it, dude.
He's raw. He probably won't be an all-time starter until next year. He's gonna have a redshirt year, but his ball skills are top notch.
Right, and 2, in terms of like corner athleticism, I mean,
he's got number 1.
up there. Yeah, he's insane. So I actually freaking love that pick for them because like they're locked down at the corner position. They are. I mean, they've got a year to develop a super corner, and that's what he has the ability to become.
He could play slot, and you see he did that at Auburn too, where he played out of the slot. Like, he could be the nickel guy day one. Which, man, he's so shifty. I was going to say, they're playing the thing. He's a kick returner, punt returner. And his stride is pretty. You asked me a question about somebody else. There was a question about what I thought about somebody.
Oh, let me go back real quick. Alex Taylor, I believe.
No, that's who I talked about. Let me go back through the chat. Just jumped
People were talking about
Dalton Keene. Yeah, Dalton Keene's a fun one. Interesting move piece tight end, which we know Kyle Shanahan wants. He comes out of a weird school. You look at Virginia Tech's interesting because they're not that good anymore. And so they used to be a powerhouse, and so you don't got a lot of film on them. They don't get a lot of TVs on them, whatever else. But big athletic tight end. Move piece tight end that everybody loves nowadays. He's not a great blocker, but he is a guy that, again, can create some separation in the receiving game and do some fun stuff. Kyle Shanahan loves those guys. So I think that there's definitely a spot for him. It just kind of depends. Kyle Shanahan's getting a tight end in this draft class through trade or a draft pick. He's only got 3 picks left. He's going to get an offensive tackle. He's going to get a tight end and probably a corner. That's my guess as the 3 positions they address. And everybody could say best player available, whatever else. Well, guess what? Best player available for almost every single team is whatever position they don't have. It's just the reality of the situation. But no, I feel good. I feel good about tonight, man. Besides the crash.
Yeah, no, I mean, oh, man, Booger McFarland's on the TV. That's what distracted me so much. But, no, this is, in all honesty, we made do with what we had with all the BS that's going on, and we had a fun time. And we got a few more picks left, and then we got tomorrow. Yeah. You and I are both people who enjoy, I mean, day one's fun. But
No.
day 2 and 3 is where
The
it's at.
49ers were in the Super Bowl because of the 5th round. That's the truth. And not even just George Kittle, who's the best tight end in football, but Dre Greenlaw as well. That's where it happens.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Goodell.
Jeff Gladney, wow. I had him mocked to Minnesota earlier with their other pick. He is the definition of a Zimmer cornerback. Physical as hell. He's got some character concerns, got some injury concerns. He's 5'10", so you take him out of the zone defenses, but if you want to press corner, this kid is mean. He is the definition of a bulldog. He will get in your face and choke you out. I'm not joking. You've seen it on film where he grabs guys by the throat that are 6'5". He is physical. Could play nickel, could play outside. Now, he's only 5'10", so again, that's kind of why he fell. But his film is as good as anybody, especially in the wide-open Big 12. He saw a lot of one-on-one man coverage with some top kind of wide receiver threats, and he doesn't back down from anything. Steve Smith mentality in a cornerback.
They just showed him on a blitz to the quarterback as a whole. He's
man.
Impressive. And he also avoided the blocker very well. I mean, just the type of thing that you don't look for a guy who's going to run straight line. You're going to look at somebody who's going to find a pathway to the quarterback. He did that.
Man, we're up to our last pick, Chuck. We did it, brother. We did it, man.
Here we go. Last shot. Here we go. Do you have a player comp from Ayuk?
Brandon Ayuk? Gosh, man. Let me look at my notes who I put down for him. He's got that damn wingspan that just makes it really, really interesting. Let's see what I got here. Give me a second. Yeah, I said Zay Jones with more wiggle, but the guy's freaking arms scratch the ground whenever he walks. They're so damn long, and it shows.
Yeah,
explosiveness.
I'd say too.
Go ahead.
People don't know how much you loved Zay Jones coming out of the draft too.
I was a big.
He kind of felt an unfortunate. Yeah, he fell to a position that's really weird. Let's be real. Like, he wasn't able to show off all of his talent. So that may sound bad to some of you, but what Zay Jones could have been out of the draft, and what's meant by that, is more than what he's produced with the Bills so far.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of guys that are like him. I'm just going to be real. You might be able to say Jeremy Maclin, but he's got so much more wiggle. Justin Blackman. There we go. Justin Blackman out of Oklahoma State, who was a top 10 pick, and then, he had all the DUIs and all that stuff and got kicked out of the league. But you're talking about a guy that has a ceiling that is undefined. Brandon Ayuk could be the best athlete at the wide receiver position in the NFL. Like, that's what he has. Now, he doesn't run the routes. He drops easy passes. Guess what? So does Debo. He led the NFL in drops all the way until like week 13, Debo. But what does Kyle Shanahan want? Brandon Ayuk, here's what his player's comp is. When Kyle Shanahan goes to bed at night, he dreams of Brandon Ayuk. That's just what he wants. And he tries to mold him into exactly what he wants. So you want somebody that's tough. You want somebody that creates. You want somebody that makes circus catches. You got it. You just got it. It's a swing for the fences pick. It's a boom bust pick. You're gonna have a home run or you're gonna have a single. There's not a double. You're not in the fairway. You are cranking Happy Gilmore style, trying to get it on the green in your first swing. That's who Brandon Ayuk is.
So real quick, Aussie 49er said, made it through, still able to stand barrel like that. But you know what? You stayed through the whole podcast. Go ahead, hit us up in the message board if you guys were able to stay through the whole time.
Yes.
I want to give a shot and a salute to the people who stayed through, to Niners fans and everyone else in the chat. Salute.
We're 4.5 hours in, man. And Chuck's still doing shots. And Chuck's not a drinker, just so you know. Chuck doesn't drink very often.
But when I get going, I don't stop.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't started dancing yet. That's usually what he does. Once he starts drinking, he starts dancing.
It is. I'm going to go upstairs and embarrass
myself. Thank you, Robert.
Myself.
Appreciate you, man. Darren, host. This is awesome, man. Yeah, Tommy, second highest pass rush grade, only behind Jordan Elliott who is just a pass rusher. He's not a straight defensive tackle player that can play all the time. So super excited, man. Can't say thanks enough to everybody. I'm going to have content out tomorrow morning whenever I wake up. I'll be working on film all night tonight. There will be podcast out tomorrow. We will not be on HotMic tomorrow. The 49ers don't have a pick, so I don't want to do that. But trust me, I'll be working nonstop tomorrow. It's gonna be an 18-hour day, which I am so freaking excited about. This is great, man. This is why we're football fans. Gosh, don't get DeAndre Swift. Don't get DeAndre Swift.
I know, right? No. Because you're talking about a guy picks in. The issue with DeAndre Swift is that makes him lethal in that offense is his ability to just make really devastating cuts. And that offense is already such an open field anyways. They just really spread defenses out. Defenses really aren't prepared, and you don't want to see him get this guy. But I could see him going into the interior line possibly here. Yeah. So let's pray. Cross our fingers. Dobbins, he'd be brutal there as well. But Swift is more of a complete back than Dobbins. Dobbins has got a ridiculously high ceiling. I had one Eagles fan here. Fly, Eagles, fly. What's up? And, again, there was a bunch of people who stayed throughout the whole time. Damien was here the whole time in the chat, man. Shout out to you. Let's see. Will you be on HotMic for the third day of the draft? I believe John will.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have a huge turnout for that, but we'll look into that once we get closer. I think the 49ers are going to trade up a couple more times. I don't think they're sitting still, but we'll see. I'll let you guys know.
George, I don't know, mess up his name, but George is still here. George P is still here, and he's been here the whole time.
George is the man. I even shot us a couple tips. I appreciate that, George. That's awesome.
Dude, honestly, so many people stuck around when the crash happened. So you guys remember the crash that happened on the draft. We'll always remember that. So
4.5 hours,
were you there
man.
for the crash? 6 a.m. for Croc.
Oh, Croc is the freaking man. Love it.
But it's probably like, I stayed up this late. I just got to finish
Eric,
it.
I'm trading into day 2 if I'm the 49ers. Yes, I want to. I want to win now. I'm fine giving away, man, I don't want to give up that second. I would combine like a 6th rounder this year and a 3rd rounder next year to get into the 3rd round late if somebody falls. One of those tackles falls or corners. Yeah, I would do that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Look at that. They got a running back. Damn it. It's the only thing I didn't want him to do. He's got to be number 1 on every single fantasy draft, period, in every format. Besides Superflex.
Yeah, no, Superflex different, but wow.
Yep, there you go. I knew they were going running back. I can't believe he went over DeAndre Swift. I lost on that one. I bet on that.
Well, the thing is, what's so appealing about him is I don't know if there's anybody who has better contact balance in the this running back class. When he gets hit,
he reminds me of him.
It's like it just kind of, he just gets derailed a little bit. It doesn't really stop him. He just does something different. He's a very interesting. I think Swift would have been more dynamic there. I think Dobbins would have been more dynamic, but still, the fact that they added a weapon is problematic.
Yep.
So,
all right, man, guys, really appreciate y'all. Can't say thanks enough. This has been a lot of fun. Start to finish, 4.5 hours. A lot of fun. 2 trades for the 49ers. It's time to go to work. Now I get to quit playing around with you guys. Now it's time for me to go to work. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know I sure did. Chuck, any closing thoughts, my friend?
Just appreciate it, and see you guys tomorrow.
If you guys didn't go follow at Host Chuck B already, you guys need to go do that. This guy's the freaking man. He's a trooper, and even though he's not a 49ers guy, thoughtful analysis all the time with a lot more humor. So thank you, Chuck. Really appreciate it. And, man, stay tuned. We got some 49ers podcast stuff coming out to you guys tomorrow morning, so stay tuned for that, and we will talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.